Welcome back. Welcome back. Happy Monday, everyone. Today is December the 18th. Fortunate for us, there's no news today. So no interruptions during the trading, no impulse candles that we weren't expecting, or any time periods where we need to be shut off from trading. Today should be a good, fun session. So I just want to welcome everyone to the start of the week, the last full week of the year. Right. For everyone who missed the session last week, I did switch over to contracts, so make sure you are looking at and trading on the March 2024 contract. The December contract expired last week. If you didn't trade on Friday, you probably didn't notice, but if you're looking at that same contract this morning, there's no activity. So if you're wondering, that's why. Make sure you're on the March contract. Yeah, and I took a peek at the news this morning, and fortunate for us this week, there's no NFP, FOMC, none of the big news drivers. So we do have news coming out this week on, I believe, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We have an orange folder tomorrow, but no red folders tomorrow. So if you're just looking for red folder news, it's just Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of this week. So that um, should be a good end of the year of trading. Next week, we have Christmas on Monday, and it's probably going to be low volume. So it's probably just not going to be ideal for trading next week, although I'll give it a shot and see what it looks like on Tuesday through Friday. But this will be the final full week of the year. So just take a quick peek here. Let's just take a peek at where we stand. Take a look at let's drop down to the 4-hour chart. Let's that's what we should do. There we go, much better. Clean chart now. All right, so if we take a peek at the 4-hour, we see that this last candle that started just at 10 o'clock, we just took out the high from last week, which was Friday's 10 o'clock candle, which was also relative equal highs from Wednesday activity. So we just now eclipsed all of those. So now we have a new weekly high, as well as high of the month, high of the year. So let's keep that in mind, that we just made a new high, whether price wants to continue to run or whether it wants to finally make a real retracement down into any of these fair value gaps. You can see fair value gap here, here, here's another one, here's a couple. So there are lots of areas to trade into if price wants to retrace and try to trade back into some of last week's price action or the week before. I mean, we've been bullish now for, I believe, 8 straight days. Let me go back to the daily. We can take a look. Just one little blip in the road, but yeah, this is 8 straight candles here of straight bullish momentum after consolidating for 2 weeks. And prior to that, we had something similar, 8 to 10 days of bullish activity. So pretty much since the beginning of November, this has been the trend. Let's drop down to the hourly, see what we can take from that chart. Okay. All right, so we got a fair value gap here that can be traded back into next hour, assuming there are no lower prices this hour. So it finishes higher. And not a lot of activity to trade back into on the hourly, not until you get into this area. So we're talking 16,600 and below. Whereas right now we're at 16,900. Okay, so we're talking about a fairly deep retracement if we're going to get into anything on the hourly that really needs something like probably the earliest location is probably this fair value gap. So it's not 16,600. So it could be 16,700. But either way, there would need to be quite a retracement for any of that activity to happen. So let's keep that in mind as we're trading today. And let's continue down the cycle and take the 15-minute. Okay, it looks even better. We got equal lows, which may be a target. This is at 16,750. Just below that, we still have a fair value gap here that's open. It dipped into it here, but it didn't close it out. And then we have the one here at 16,700 that we just mentioned on the hour. It's also here on the 15-minute. We have this long wick that hasn't been traded into. So 50% on that would be roughly 16,650. So there's a few places that price can go today, but it's going to be 200 to 300 point retracement. So right now we're bullish, but if things change, then we have a few targets that we can look for. All right, and that's what we have on the Nasdaq. Okay. We just take a quick peek at ES. Let's see what's going on there. I know a lot of you are traders of the S&P. All right, so on the daily, definitely similar action with the consecutive bullish candles. We haven't quite taken out the high from Thursday, like we just saw on the Nasdaq. So we are expecting for ES to follow suit and to also do the same. So we should be looking for bullish prices, even though it's not far away. The high of this candle is 91.75, and we're at 90.5. So another 1.5. We'll have a new high for ES for the week as well, and for the month. Let's drop down and see. Well, staying on the daily, we have this big gap here. So this could be a target this week of something to trade into 47.45 down to 4,700. There's a few more down here. Here's one. Here's a small one. Small fair value gap there. Okay, same one on the 4-hour. Big target right in your face. Couple down here. Drop into the hourly. Okay, we have a few swing lows that we can attack prior to the fair value gap there. Relative equal lows, more fair value gaps, more fair value gaps. And this is all on the hourly. So it looks like all the way down to 4,600, there are places to go. There are landing spots for ES. Okay, and similarly on the 15-minute, you can see how wide open it is down to 4,700 on this one. So about 4,750 is its first gap, all the way down to 4,700. The 15 minutes. So let's just get back over to the 30-second. Well, actually, before we do, let's take a peek at our counter pair, which is the US dollar. Okay, so we've seen a lot of bearish activity since October. Looks like it's taking out lows and then doing a pullback, taking out a low, small pullback, low, pullback, low, pullback, low. So we've taken out the low as of Thursday of last week. And now we're in the middle of the traditional pullback. We have a volume imbalance here that it may target. fair value gap right here that may be a target, and then we would expect to see lower prices. So for 1 to 2 days, we may see bullish prices on the dollar, and then we should see a price crash. So that's what we're expecting if we do it. Just take just a quick top down. So let's go back down to the 30-second and switch back over to Nasdaq. And let's start looking at what price is doing and start lining ourselves up for a setup. Oh, Ennis, good morning. Good morning. Yeah, let's end the year on a great note. Um, Everyone finishes the week green, and we head into next year feeling good about our trading and excited about what price may bring us next year. Just continue our journey of becoming professional traders. All right, let's see if this high is now in play and it's going to look for a new high. We did see a low swept over on this on the move down. There was a swing low that was taken out on the way down, and we wonder if this is like starting a new trend and we're going to be moving and looking for lower prices, or is this just merely a liquidity sweep on our way to higher prices? And so for now, we're waiting to see what that's actually going to be. It looks at this moment like that was a liquidity sweep for higher prices, but we're going to wait for confirmation. And I see I did not bring my coffee in. I think I left it in the other room. I'll be right back. Okay. All right, there we go. Have those fair value gaps marked up now, just in case there's a slight retracement. Okay. And also confirmation has happened. We did seek higher prices. So we're going to continue bullish. Okay. Once again, just in case we have a lot of new people in the room, hope you all had a good weekend and welcome to the Monday session. Okay, let's see what kind of reaction we get from this area. This is typically where we like to take a scalping setup. Okay. Let's go ahead and set up our short and long tool for when we're ready for it. Okay. There's the short and here's the long. Okay, what we saw here is we did see a new high put in, but immediately we saw the candle retrace back into the zone. We had a slight close above right here, and then a deeper retracement. So what we want to do is we want to wait to see if price is in fact bullish, or This was another fake out, similar to the sweep of the low. Now we just have a sweep of the high. But as soon as we had it, we saw a deep retracement. So let's just give price a few more minutes to determine its direction and to let us know where it's going. Still early. We still have plenty of time. Okay, we want to see price break through the fair value gap. We don't want to see this become resistance. Just like we are seeing, we hope it continues. We want to see price bounce off of this and continue upwards. RT, good morning. Welcome back. Welcome back. Good to have you. Let's hope you enjoyed today and we can get you back for a third day. See, did anyone take any trades this morning so far? No? Okay. All right. Well, it's just about 10:30. Just about 10:30. So we should see price settle down from the opening bell and all the funniness that happens after 9:30. No trades yet, Anis? Okay. Yeah, same here. No trades for me. Um, I did take a trade at like 2 o'clock this morning. Couldn't sleep and I rolled out of bed and took a peek at the London session and took a small trade, but that was it. Yeah, you missed the open. Let's see. I didn't catch the open either. Oh, okay. So the open, we basically had consolidation prior to the open. We had a big move down at 9:30 to sweep lows, essentially taking all of these people out. This group right here, everybody who got in starting around this level, maybe even this level. So during 8:30, this retracement down, if you didn't get in at the exact bottom and you got in anywhere on this leg, when it retraced back down at 9:30, anyone who was trailing their stop here, or when it came down and then it started to build up again, they moved their stop loss from this area over to here as price was moving up. And then we saw at 9:30, it came down, took these stops out, and then continued on in its previous direction. It's not uncommon for the 9:30 to do that, or for any other news driver or impulse time frame to do that. All right, looks like we're seeking higher prices. Let's not get too excited yet. Let's give it a few minutes. Okay, let me just mark out the high so we can see when that high is taken. You can see we have equal highs. Okay, if you're new to the channel and I haven't introduced the trading style for today's session, we utilize the 30-second chart, and it's for one-to-one scalps of 5 points at a time. So as the setups occur, I'll walk you through what I look for and how I decide when and where to get in. And it's up to you if you like this style of trading and if you want to go and back test it when the session's over. I usually spend my weekends back testing so I can be confident for the session coming up. But I encourage you, if you do like the style of trading, to go and back test and to get confident and seeing the setups and believing in the entry levels at 30% or 50% or whatever you're comfortable with is really based on your risk tolerance. Everyone's going to be a little different. But we also will look at other setups. I mean, sometimes there's obviously we're in the 10 o'clock hour, so there could be a silver bullet. There are other traders in the room who are not utilizing scalping, who are taking longer trades. And so feel free to do whatever your style is. But again, welcome to all new members, and for everyone who's this their first time watching the channel, thanks for joining. Right, for now, there's not a whole lot to do because if you can see, I'm gonna put this dash line up. Actually, let me make it solid. As you can see, price is putting in higher lows, but the highs are remaining consistent. All right, let's get rid of this line. It's clouding our vision for now. Put these double highs back up. So now we know whenever we have a new high and price is eclipsed, we'll look and hope that it closes above. But if not, even if it just puts a wick above, we'll still evaluate what price is doing at that time and decide if we want to look for a setup or if a setup has already been created. Make that a bit larger. All right, looks like it's sweeping those lows, which sometimes we refer to as trend line liquidity. So you see a trend line of higher lows, and it's all just creating liquidity for then a move downwards to sweep all the lows at once. So we take out this one. If this is trend line liquidity, then this one's up next. And you keep moving down and you snatch up this one. This is what the market likes to do sometimes, just to give a false breakout. People believe that it's going long. They enter, they start placing their stops under all the swing lows. And then after it's built up enough, then it just crashes down and sweeps all. You can remove that now. Let's see if this last fair value gap will hold or if the last swing low will also be taken out. So far, it's looking good. We got a closure outside of the fair value gap. It wicked inside, but the candle body is above. Okay. So we had a candle body close above. Then we had a candle body close on the 50%. And let's see what this candle does. Okay, if I can point your attention to the lower left-hand corner, we have the 5-minute chart. I left this here just to kind of give us a compass for as we're taking scalps. We can see a larger time frame to make sure that we're still on track, even though we see small fluctuations in price or we see market structure shifts on such a low time frame. I like to still look at a higher time frame to make sure we're still on track for the overall, which in this case is bullish. So even though we saw a low taken here, which would indicate a market structure shift, actually not this one. Market structure shift came from here all the way up to the top, and we haven't taken out that high. However, oftentimes you'll see a market structure shift on a small time frame, but then on a 1 minute to 5 minute, you'll still see that the old direction is still in play. And so you want to make sure that even if you do take a trade against the trend, you're managing risk properly, and you're able to get back on track fairly quickly, since the overall trend hasn't changed. So what I wanted to highlight here is that on the 5 minute, you can see a pretty large fair value gap that's bullish, that we're just now entering. So let's watch and see how price reacts from this level all the way down to 867.5. So we got about 15 points of wiggle room here between where price is right now and where it would exit out of the fair value gap to the downside. Okay, let's get rid of this fair value gap. It didn't hold. Looks like up next is this swing low, and then following that would be this one. But again, all of this is still within the range of this fair value gap, which is still bullish. Okay. I have an impulse candle here. Let's see how it closes out. Okay, let's see if we get an impulse reaction out of this fair value gap. There's a couple bearish fair value gaps here, but I'm hoping that if we can seek higher prices, that we'll just push right through those and look for swing highs here all the way to the top as we look for to make a new high. Every time I'm expecting something is when it doesn't do it. Price just wants to consolidate and drag his feet around. All right, well, at least it did something. So both of these lows have now been taken. Let me take these off the screen. Let's also just quickly take a peek at the fair value gap in the 5-minute chart. So we see that we're now at the very lower extreme of that fair value gap. So this is where we do want to see it show some sort of bullish position. Otherwise, we're going for this swing low, which also just so happens to be at the 8:30 open, which is at 16,844 and a quarter. It's probably not easy to see. It's a little dotted purple line right here. This dash purple line is the midnight open. So we have midnight and 8:30 open, very close to where we are. Obviously these two levels represent the starting point of the calendar day, as well as the starting point of the pre-New York market open. So those are pretty um, useful levels, and so we mark them up every day, and we make sure that we continue to understand where they are, and if price starts moving in that direction, that could be a draw. So in our case, we want to see if price wants to break through this 5-minute fair value gap. And that's really the question. Once we figure out if it wants to break through the 5-minute fair value gap, then we'll know if the midnight open or the 8:30 open is in play. And then from there, then it's, are we bullish or bearish? Because if we get below the midnight and the 8:30 open, we're definitely below any of those prices. So we'll be looking at particularly lows for the day. Great. Let's see if this is our first setup. Okay, so this is how we want to structure it. So essentially what we have here is we have bearish momentum now. I marked this first one up just because it meets our criteria, but this is not a trade I'm going to take. I'm going to wait for the next setup. But I just want to walk you through, for anyone who's not familiar, just walk you through the process of first identifying the trend where we have lower lows continue to be made and lows being swept on the other side, which then turns momentum into bearish. So what we're looking for is after lows are being met, we want to see a high being swept, a swing high. And in this case, we have a swing high where we have a high here, a lower high to the left, a lower high to the right. So we mark that there. And once price bought through it, we then wanted to see price return bearish and this only be a liquidity sweep. So price did do that. It returned bearish immediately following. And so then we look for a trade back into this manipulation range. So the range in the opposite direction. We want to see a play back into it, either 30, 50, or 70%, whatever key level that you like to enter. I typically do 30, just being aggressive and want to ensure that I get my entry. And so 30 would be the entry. So in this case, the very next candle bought up. If you had 30% as your entry, you would have been entered in the trade. And now you would be out when it traded down here. Did take a little bit of heat. You can see the upper extreme, this red area right here at 833 and a quarter. I'm sorry, 883 and a quarter, 883 and a quarter. The upper limit of this candle turned out to be 882. So about a point away from being stopped out, and then price turned the other way and delivered profit. So in a nutshell, that's what we're looking for. So we're looking for a continuation of that, meaning we want to see new lows being put in, and swing highs. We want to see swing highs being swept as liquidity. Yeah. Yep, for sure. Yeah, Mohammed, I took a look at the dollar earlier. I did a quick overview, a top-down analysis at the start of the session. And when we took a peek at the dollar, it looked like it had been making new lows. And after each one, it was doing a small retracement and then continue on. So I thought the earlier part of this week might be those retracements. So we may see slightly higher prices, maybe today and tomorrow. And then when the red folders start again on Wednesday, then we'll see the dollar shoot lower and we'll see the commodities seek higher prices. All right, we're rounding out. We're getting close to the end of the first hour of today's morning session. If you are new or if you're returning and you're enjoying today's session, please support the channel and hit the like button so YouTube can find us other live traders to join our session so we can grow. Hey everyone, there was a swing high taken. This one right here. So we have a high, a lower high, and then the lower high to the right. So that becomes a swing high. The next candle bought up through it. So now let's see if we will continue to seek lower prices. We have equal lows here. That's usually a magnet for price. All right, if you're just joining, we are currently at bearish sentiment. We see ever since just after 10 o'clock, maybe 10:15, price had been continuously seeking out lower values. So we're going to continue with that trend, and we're looking for a one-to-one scalping on the 30-second chart, 5-point take profit, 5-point stop loss. Okay, we do have a new low now. All right, let's see if we can't. Okay, we'll see what the results of this trade is. I did go in with a smaller risk. I'll show you in a minute why I did that. I'll wait until this trade is completed. But there was a reason for it. Okay, let's see if we can get a new low. Actually, we can get a new low without hitting our target price. Okay, so all three levels are in the trade, whether you wanted to enter at 30%, 50%, or 70% retracement. Let's see where we are. 50%. Yep, so 50%, those are winners. They won their trade already. Did 70 get in on the early one? Yep, 70 did too. So those two entries are winning trades. Let's see now after 30%. Let's see what the result will be. See if we can get at least below this swing low over here. It looks like we can. We're going to come down to break even. All right, there we go. Okay, so all entries were winners on this this setup. I'll go ahead and move our tool over, and let's also clean up our charts a bit. Get rid of some of these lines. Okay, the reason why I went in with a smaller lot size on this one, because you see I had to set up from this low to this high as our manipulation, and then we made a new low, which is what the retracement on this black candle here gave us our entry. But we also had over here, let's see, yeah, after this low here was made, We did have all this price action here. Came down, made an equal low. We had a swing high that was then taken and then broke down. So this was our setup here. But in fact, we had this manipulation also. Oops, sorry, had that backwards. Let's go and put this in the right way. Right. Well, actually, I guess it wasn't that bad because the 30% entry on this leg is equal to the 50% entry on this leg. Okay, so they overlap. So it's basically same trade. All right. Well, that was the reason why I didn't want to go in, you know, the full army just in case. But it worked out. So anyone else who took that trade, congratulations. On the 5 minute, yes, we were inside of a bullish fair value gap. Yep, we sure were. Right, it was right here. You can look down in the lower left-hand corner. Okay, now I have it overlapping into the 30-second. But yep, so that's exactly where we were. The thing was we traded all the way down to pretty much 99% of the entire gap twice. And so I felt pretty confident that the fair value gap wasn't going to hold. But we had been monitoring it ever since we were up in this area. I remember calling it out and saying, let's pay attention and make sure that we're not going to get a bullish reaction once it enters. And we did in the beginning. Like it tapped the edge and then it went in a little bit and then it went all the way and came all the way back out. But as you can see, it just stair-stepped its way through. Just took a little while. All right, and we continue to look for bearish setups as we continue to see lower prices. We just got a high swept. Now we'll be looking for lower prices. All right, so next up is we have equal lows down at 16,845-ish, right in that area. And that's also where the 8:30 open is. But actually prior to that is the midnight open at 8:52. So 8:52 and 8:45 are our next key levels. Stretch it out a bit. I'm going to go refill my coffee. Anyone else need to take a break? I'll be back in 2 minutes. right, I'm back. Didn't miss anything though, but I'm back. Okay. Go to break even and see how this trade unfolds now. Right. So I got my commission fees back for my troubles. And we have a break even trade. That's fine. Let's see how it actually turned out for anyone who is still in. Every position is 5 points, 5 handles. So each point is worth $20. So it's a $100 per contract. It's a good question, Dylan. And welcome to the channel. I don't think I've seen you in chat before. Rafael Fernandez, welcome to the chat as well. I don't think I've seen you before. Welcome. All right, so 30% did not win this go round. Let's see, 50% entries came really close. They didn't TP yet, but are still in the trade. Didn't stop loss either. Right, 70s out of it as well. All right. So this particular setup did not produce a win. We're back inside of this bullish fair value gap from the 5-minute. But let me delete that because we did trade below and close below. So now let's take a look at price. Let's just make sure this is not just a liquidity sweep of this high. And potentially we're going to move bullish. What I'm predicting actually is what's going to happen. We sweep the high. We'll come down and sweep the low. And we'll get either the 8:30 open or the midnight open for bullish momentum. But that's just me speculating. Price never does what I want it to do. It does what it wants. So I'm just going to pay attention and react to what I see. Well, welcome, Raphael and Dylan to the community. I would really appreciate it. Thank you everyone who's liked the video so far. I think we have a real potential today to have the most likes of any video on the channel. So let's just keep it up. Let's mark out these fair value gaps so we can see them when we get back there. Okay. Okay, so on the shorter time frame, when we're looking at market structure, breaking this high actually shifts us back looking for longs. We're looking bullish now, at least in the short term. So what I want to see is I want to see price continue to be bullish. So I want to see a retracement somewhere into one of these fair value gaps, and I want to see an energetic move off of it, and I want to see this high taken. So we can start market structure moving in a bullish direction. Otherwise, I see this as just a deep retracement to take out highs here, 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 and here, and potentially a few more up to here, and then a retracement down. Oh, I'm sorry, a continuation bearish. But for now, like I say, let's just watch price for a few minutes. I mean, these are 30-second charts, so we get 2 every minute, and let's just see how it prints, and we'll go from there. Okay, we have another fair value gap here. Let's make this a little larger. I want to make sure everyone can see it. Delete this one. Okay, we have had a sweep of a low. We're in a fair value gap, and we have a higher high, which is good. Yeah, because we had basically from the low that we put in where we took the last setup, we basically just had a run up of all bullish candles. And so what I wanted to see was some type of retracement and then continue. And there we are. Okay, let's see if we can get through this 5-minute fair value gap. Oh man. Okay. Want to make sure we had our long tools just in case we need it. Let's get rid of these lines. We don't need them anymore. Okay, right now we are seeking higher prices, but we don't have a setup right just yet. So let's quickly jump over and take a peek at the other indices and just see what's happening. So this is the Nasdaq on the 1 hour. We can see last hour created the high, and now we're look like we're potentially challenging this hour. ES, okay, so ES did in fact make its high, but it did it this hour as opposed to last hour like Nasdaq. But it is seeking higher prices. So we see those two moving together. And now let's take a peek at the US dollar. All right, so we want to see the dollar going lower. Right now we have all these relative equal lows. Equal highs, which could be where it's going. And once it tips on the other side of these equal highs, then we could see lower prices. But we can see that it's just been consolidating ever since it opened, actually closing on Friday. Hasn't really moved out of that area. We also have equal lows, these two. So this is sort of the zone that the dollar is sitting in right now, and we are hopeful that it will break out and break to the downside. But for now, we'll hang tight. Let's get back over to Nasdaq in a 30 seconds. Keep in mind this black line is equal highs from earlier. We had equal highs over here at 1018. We have a fair value gap here that price may want to enter into. See a bullish reaction from. Let's see if this 50% mark at 885 is a draw for price. Let's pay attention to those declining highs. See if we get a play into the fair value gap, and then we take out all of those highs. Still haven't hit the 50%. Hoping we get down to 885 even. Oh, on one of the combines. Okay. Your other combine is still alive. Did you trade both or just one of them? And good morning, Chris. Okay, let's see if this is the push up we were looking for to sweep these highs, or if we need one more downwards push prior to taking those highs. All right, Chris, you're banned from trading by yourself. It's funny how that works and how that happens. Well, I hope that we can this week. Let's just have a good week of trading, and then hopefully you can laugh about last night and this morning's entries by the end of the week when you're back in the green and you're happy with your account status. Yeah. Yeah, Chris, I agree. I used to be the same way. I was always a much more patient trader when I traded with someone else. Mainly, I let them sort of walk me through how the price was were printing and uh, keep me from entering areas where I normally would have just impulsively hit the button and just saw what happened, as opposed to having a real method towards entering trades. And so that's what watching others did for me. And I'm glad I can do that for you. Um, Also, a lot of times when you hear me talking about what I see in price action, I'm talking to you, but I'm really talking to myself, keeping myself aware of what's happening, but also trying to keep myself calm and I guess keep my risk management together. Trading can be a very impulsive activity, so it's it's good to be able to take a step back and calm down for a bit. And you guys do that for me too. Like sitting in front of someone and trading, calling out trades and hitting the button in front of people is not an easy task. And so when you know that someone's watching you, you're generally a little more careful. Okay, everyone, 11:30, closing in on 11:30 now, half hour before lunch. Okay, let's move this line out of the way because we've seen one, two, three. We've seen three of these highs fall. We haven't cleared the highest one en route to the high of the day. But as I mentioned, we likely go into this fair value gap, have an impulse move out of it, and start beating and start taking away some of these highs. Continuously bullish movement. Good job, Chris. Way to go. I mean, that's what trading really is. It's about preserving your capital, um, not revenge trading. Okay, you see, we now have a new high, so we can continue looking for bullish setups. Um, but no, Chris, it was a good rebound for you. Way to keep your head in the game and not get flustered and just basically. I mean, I've thought sometimes when I was having a bad day that all I wanted to do was just end my account so I wouldn't have to think about it anymore, and you just impulse trade until it's all over. So good job in not doing that and battling back and turning things around and making your account positive. All right, you know what? Let's see. Where's our closest fair value gap? Is it here? Okay, so now we have Nasdaq and the S&P making new highs this hour. While we wait, let's check on the Dow. We didn't peek at the Dow earlier. At least I don't think we did. And following suit is the Dow. Oops. Huge bullish candle for the hour. Okay, so the Dow is not taking out Friday's high. So that gives it somewhere to continue to look for, gives it a target, a goal. But we do have a new high for today. Okay. Back to Nasdaq. Okay, so we have a swing low, a new high made, potentially, and that's getting ready to be taken. All right, so let's mark up this area here just in case. All right. That's good. We now see a swing low taken. We see a second one right here. This one's actually good. A lot of times what happens is when you see a swing high that's taken a main one, afterwards what will happen is usually you'll get a retracement, but not to the next order block. It's going to pass and it's going to go down to the first fair value gap it finds, which in this case, it could have stopped here on the order block, but instead it moved below into the fair value gap. And that's why I was just a few minutes ago, I was wondering, I was like, where's the closest fair value gap? Because I know that's where it's going to go. Now let's see if it can make a new high. Was that an equal high? Yeah, it's an equal high. Need one more tick. Let's mark this up so it's easier to see. Delete this as well. We're just waiting to see if we can get a new high put in where these equal highs are. Okay, while it looks like price is stalling for a moment, I'm going to get my third and final cup of coffee. If anyone needs a break, I'll be back in about 2 minutes. Hey, okay, it looks like price is still tinkering with these highs, making higher lows. We have equal highs. Eventually, something's going to break. So we got this kind of situation happening. Let's move these over. Yeah, so these equal highs that we marked up from this high and essentially this high, but this one, you can see even as price continues to wick above these equal highs, the candle bodies are remaining below. All right. Okay, finally, we got to close above and then look at the reaction afterwards. Okay, let's clean up our charts a bit, get rid of some of these lines. Right. Hope somebody caught this trade. Let's see. We got a break there. So then the retracement would have happened here. So that would have been a 30-second entry from this most recent setup, which let me just walk you through the steps. So first we had a new high. So this was a previous high. So this was the new high. Once that new high was made, then we needed a swing low to be taken. The first swing low that was taken was right here immediately afterwards. So afterwards, it formed a swing low here. It bought up by a couple candles and then it shot down, taking out that swing low. And then what we needed was a new high to be made. So if we mark up this high and we look for when that was broken, it was broken here and here. Retracement to 30% and to 50%. And then we see a buyout. Congrats to anyone who saw that setup and took it. $11:15, 1 minute. Annis, let's see what you got. Okay. Oh, you took it long from here. Holy, okay. 889. Targeted previous 1 minute high, 889 to here, which was 902. Sweet. Awesome, Annis. 13 points per contract. A little over $250. Good job. Let's just test and see if the strategy would work on the 1 minute for everyone who asked if it works on other time frames. Okay, so we had a high right here. And so following that, we look for a swing low to be taken. This was a swing low that was put in. We have a low with a higher low to the left and a higher low to the right. So that becomes our swing. Trade it below. Then we look for a new high to be made, which was here. Manipulation is there. We measure it out with the Fibonacci. The high was made here. We wait for a retracement into 30, which actually we never got. So that setup never happened. Let's look for the next one. Okay, so the next one hasn't set up yet, but the next swing low to be taken is this one here, traded below right there. So now what we would need is a new high to put in. We need it to go up above 913 or 914. And from there, this would be our setup. If it goes above 914, then we would look for a retracement back down to 911, and then we'd hope for a bullish response to that level. Okay. So let's move back to the 30-second now. Stretch out our fair value gap and see if we get a retracement down to that area. We never did get a touch of the 50% back here. It came down to about a quarter or halfway to the 50%. And then it had a big response out. So it's still in play, and I just want to make sure that I'm aware of it. So I stretched it out. But now that we've had a swing low taken, we're now hoping for higher prices so we can look for a bullish setup. All right, everyone, 11:50, 10 minutes before the hour. If you've been around long enough or been listening to me, I usually talk about macros that run at 10 minutes before the hour and 10 minutes after the next hour. So let's pay attention to the next 20 minutes and see where price goes. Usually it'll run for some type of liquidity or another target. Um, but let's just see. It's been pretty bullish ever since we got on this morning. So there could be some swing lows in play that price will want to go and get. It'll either reach for those now, or if it doesn't, it'll spend the next hour during lunch looking for liquidity from the morning session as we get set up for the afternoon session. As we watch price continue to print, I want to encourage anyone who is enjoying the session but not yet subscribed to the channel to please do so you can get invitations for future sessions. Our community is growing. I see more and more people daily. I see some of the same names in the chat, but I'm aware that our numbers are growing. We're definitely getting more views and more people in the room. So if you want to continue to get the invites, please subscribe to the channel. Also, when you hit the like button, YouTube will find other traders to recommend our channel to. And when they join the session, we'll have a much more informative discussion about the price action and where we see things going. But I do want to thank everyone for joining so far. We've had a good session this morning. And I'm enjoying hosting these sessions for you. So thanks for being here. Okay, so we've had several lows swept. We've had this one, we've had this one, and this one. Not to mention the one that's just a few candles before. So it's taken out some liquidity already. And now it looks like it's going to continue bullish. So we may actually see a setup before the lunch hour gets here. Oh, Annis, thank you. Thank you very much. I was hoping for 100 subs today. I opened up the day. I looked at it this morning. It was 99. And I was like, oh, man, I hope we get to 100 today. So thank you, everyone who subscribed. And I hope you continue to enjoy the content and we continue to grow together. Okay, so that new high has been put in. I can see if we can get a little setup here. I was still in a buying position because our trade setup is prices continue to make higher highs, higher lows, and that's why I was in a buying position. Alrighty, so that trade did not work out for us. Oh, this is just stuck there. It happens sometimes. Let me see if I can refresh. Okay, there it is. Nope, still there. I don't know. Maybe I should log out, maybe. Anyway, 5 minutes before the hour. Drop. Well, Chris, it may come back around. Also, trade smart. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. But remember, I'm just doing small 5 point scalps. So with that being said, I'm not looking for huge runs. So the absence of liquidity is less important. I'm not saying it's not important, but it's not as important as if I was looking for 20 or more points. Okay, here is a fair value gap that may push price in a direction. Okay. So we had a sweep of highs, then we had a sweep of lows. So let's see if we stay in this zone for a while or if price is willing to choose a direction and continue moving. Oh, oddly enough, that big move down. Remember I was saying it didn't hit the 50% over here earlier when it came down? This in 2 seconds, it made a big impulse down right at 50%. Now for here, so we're setting up now for the hour, the lunch hour. So for the next hour, I will be offline. I do have an invitation already out for the afternoon session starting at 1 o'clock. I hope to see everyone who's available back. Anyone who can't make it, there will be. I mean, obviously the replay will be on my channel if you want to check it out later. But we will be back at 1 o'clock. So mark your calendars, and yeah, hope to see everyone back in the next hour. Okay, back at the fair value gap, reaching for those lows. And let's see if this fair value gap continues to hold or if price will break through and put up a candle body on the other side. Move this. Back in this fair value gap. Let's see how price responds at the 50% mark. Okay, it's at 50%. Let's see if we get a rejection. Hmm. Okay. All right. Thank you, Trade Smart. Appreciate that. Okay, we have a close outside of this fair value gap on the other side. All right. With that being said, I am going to close off the live stream now. Again, thank you everyone for joining this morning. We do have an afternoon session starting in about an hour. So I hope to see everyone there. And again, thanks for joining today. We had a really good session. I appreciate it. Talk to you then.